Mary still remembers the day she went to ask the manager of her local supermarket for help in reading the labels on food items. She got a shock at his response.
He asked me, was I stupid that I didn't know my A's from my B's? And I felt so upset that I actually cried in front of him, that a human being could be so hurtful to another person. And I was only asking him, could he be able to help me? I felt so ashamed, really so ashamed.
However, the experience was to prove to be the turning point. First, Mary enlisted the help of her good friend Patricia, who taught her the basics of reading and writing. Since then, her tutor at the local learning centre in Limerick has helped her to advance even further.
When I do have the problem, I could always go back to my tutor, Mike, without any hesitation, say, Mike, will you help me out with this? And he'd say, there's no problem. And I feel so at home with him. And he never makes me feel embarrassed at all. And it makes me feel that I am somebody. He even actually surprises me. And he'd say, well, you do it this time, because I know you can do it. He gives me great praise. I feel so good. I'm beginning to learn how to read patterns, what I couldn't do before. It's still very difficult. So I'm going to do sewing classes as well in my education, because education means it's not only reading and writing.
Despite the many setbacks in her life up to now, Mary has the guts and the determination to carry on making progress. She's convinced it's all down to the valuable support and inspiration she's been given.
Denny was my partner that I lived with 13 years, and he encouraged me to do the reading and writing. He often sat beside me and he'd say, go on, Mary, there's nothing too big for you, you can do it. He encouraged me so much. He would take me to my tutor, he'd go to the tech and he'd wait outside. He'd never put me down, and he just passed away 11 weeks ago, and it was like another part of my world gone. And he said to me, Mary, please continue with your education. I'll be with you. So, and this is what it's encouraged me to do, the DIYs, because he used to do all the painting and the decorating. And now I have to do it. It's to keep me going. I'm doing the house up and I'm painting, what I never done before, and buying things, but we always done things together.
These are all the documents you asked me to bring along? Great. Do you have your eye on a property yet?
Well, we thought we'd come in and see how much money we could raise first.
Very wise. Now, let's see. What is your annual income, Len?
€20,000.
And what about yourself, Aoife?
I'm on 22,000.
Okay, do either of you have a credit card?
I don't.
I do. I brought along the statements with the other documents.
Great. Okay, are you paying off a car?
No.
Do you have any other investments?
Well, we did open a savings account last month.
Are either of you likely to get promoted in the next year?
No.
Don't think so.
Not really.
Okay, I'll make some copies of your documents and then that's all the information I need for now.
So we were thinking we might get around €125,000. Would that be about right?
I don't think it'll be that much, but I'm not sure yet.
I'll never get anything in Dublin for less than that.
Why don't I see what I can get for you and then we can meet again?
Yeah, that'd be great. And in the meantime, we'll keep looking for the right house.
At the right price. Thank you.
Yeah. Lovely. Bye.
If you do decide to buy a house, you can be sure that there'll be a lot of form filling and paperwork involved. However, don't be put off. It's not as bad as it looks. In this application form, the Building Society have tried to make it as clear as possible what is required. For example, they've put in short notes along the right-hand side, explaining what the different headings mean. The form is also laid out in different sections. This section deals with your personal details, your name, address, phone number, where you're working, your income, and so on. There's also space for 2 sets of personal details to be filled in. for a first and second applicant. This means that if there are two people buying the house together, a husband and wife, friend or partner, then you need to fill in the details for both people. As we've said before, most forms ask for the same basic information, but sometimes they ask for it in a different way. For instance, this form asks you to fill in your title. This simply means whether you're Mr., Mrs. or Ms. The form also asks for your marital status. This means whether you're married, single, separated or divorced. And your dependents usually mean the number of children under the age of 18. Another document you'll also need if you're applying for a loan is your P60. Your P60 is a form which you get from your employer at the end of the tax year. It's an important document which has details of your income for the year, the tax you have paid, and your social welfare contributions. The form will also show your PPS number. PPS is short for Personal Public Service Number. It used to be known as your RSI number. There's a form filling exercise on pages 84 and 85 of the workbook which you might like to try later on.
Morning!
Bob, will you come for lunch?
Sorry, Len, I can't. I've got a meeting in about 20 minutes. I'm just having a quick sandwich. Oh, Len, hey, check out the property section. I circled a couple of interesting looking houses, all under €130,000.
I don't think we'll be buying any houses this year, but
Why not?
they'll only give us a lot less than that.
Let's shop around.
They want a 10% deposit as well. Where am I going to get that?
Must be another way of doing it. Leave it with me. Let's see what I can find out.
Hello?
Hey, Len, where are you?
I'm on my way home.
Oh, you should have stopped in on your way out.
I just felt a bit low, what with the house loan and the mortgages and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, that's why you should have stopped in. I've got some really good news for you.
I could do with some good news.
Look, the corporation has all kinds of schemes for people like yourself and Aoife. Even one where they pay half of the mortgage.
Really?
Yes, so you guys can definitely get a house.
Hold on. I can't hear you. Bob?
Len? Len?
Sometimes we run words together and shorten them to make one word. For example, instead of saying do not, we say don't. What's happened is that we've run the two words together and replaced the missing letter, in this case the letter O, with what's called an apostrophe. Here's another example. Instead of saying we will, you could say we'll, this time replacing the letters W and I with the apostrophe. It's important to know about apostrophes because they can change the whole meaning of a word. For example, if you put an apostrophe into the word shall, it becomes she'll, meaning she will. Likewise, if you meant to write the words he'll, meaning he will, and you leave out the apostrophe, you'll be left with the word hell, which isn't the same thing at all.
Fantastic.
Where are you?
In here, Len!
Oh, listen, I have some great news. Bob, did you tell her?
No, I thought you'd be the one who'd like to do that.
What?
Bob reckons the corporation has schemes that'll help us buy a house.
Ah, Len, let's not get our hopes up.
No, honestly, Bob has all the information.
No, it's true, Aoife. Look. Take a look at that.
Dublin Corporation Housing and Community Services Shared Ownership Scheme. Well, what is this?
That's the one I think you should do. The shared ownership scheme. That's where the corporation buy the house. You pay a mortgage on half of its value and you rent the other half. And you only need a small deposit.
Hold on, that's a bit fast for me. Explain that again, will you?
Look, don't worry. I spoke to a nice woman on the phone and she's going to send you over an information pack. So it looks like the two of you are going to be able to buy your own house.
Really?
Yeah, really. I think the two of you should start looking again real soon.
Let's avoid anything with great potential, though.
Yeah. It works. What do you think?
That's the one I want.
Me too. What with a shared ownership scheme and everyone would be able to afford it.
I've got a good feeling about this.
Oh, me too. Let's go for it.
Yeah, okay.
Mary hopes that her story, in turn, will inspire other people to get over their own fear and make a start.
Pick up the phone You don't have to face anybody and just talk to them on the phone. They make you feel welcome and you don't have to feel embarrassed at all, because your life changes 1,000 times and it makes you feel that you have achieved something. If one person could come along and say, well, I want to be like Mary, just one person out of millions, because there's nothing to be ashamed of anymore. Every day is a challenge, and it's a challenge that I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I'm never going to stop.
Mary is in fact hoping to return to full-time education, and we wish her all the best with that. Now let's recap on the learning we've covered this week. Reading the small ad section of any newspaper or magazine can be quite a puzzle. So many of the words are abbreviated, it's almost like another language. Some of the most common abbreviations you'll find if you're looking in the property section are one bed for one bedroom, fern for furnished, FLR for floor, and APT for apartment. You'll often see the time written as 8 a.m. or 4 p.m. AM and PM are used to make it clear whether we mean morning or evening time. AM is used to indicate morning time, and PM means that it's in the evening. So 6 a.m. means 6 o'clock in the morning, whereas 6 p.m. would be 6 o'clock in the evening. Although forms can seem quite intimidating, don't be put off. They're usually not as bad as they seem. Many forms have short notes to explain the different headings. You'll often be asked for your marital status. That means whether you're married, single, separated or divorced. And your dependents usually means the number of children under the age of 18. And don't forget your PPS, or Personal Public Service Number. It used to be known as your RSI number. Our spelling tip this week looked at using apostrophes when shortening words. For example, to shorten do not to don't, you replace the letter O with an apostrophe. You have to be careful using apostrophes because they can change the meaning of the word totally. For example, if you mean to write he'll, meaning he will, and you leave out the apostrophe, you'll be left with the word hell. If you've any questions or you'd like some help on anything we've covered in this or last week's programme, call the NALA free phone number 1800 20 20 65. Specially trained tutors are there to take your call from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. Calls are free and confidential. You don't have to give your name. Just ring the free phone line with your question and the tutors will be glad to help you. You can also phone this number to get your copy of the free Read Write Now learning pack. Coming up next week, the Kelly family are planning to get themselves onto the information superhighway, and there's plenty to learn along the way about sending emails, writing cheques, and a useful spelling tip on syllables.